Now, I'm personally paying Blizzard, and I think most of you guys who are playing Classic WoW are paying Blizzard in some form. So that's $15 a month that they're getting from me for a 15-year-old game. The least you can do is use a fraction of that $15 a month to actually ban people for botting. Like, it's getting out of control, and it's actually starting to really frustrate not only me but the player base. Making this video was extremely funny to me. I had loads of fun, and I will get into the fun part later. I was initially going to put this part of the video at the end. However, I know a lot of people don't watch videos to the end, so I really want to get this off my chest now, because honestly, in making this video, I became more and more upset as I went through just thinking about it and talking about it. So I'm going to troll a bot in this video. It's clearly a bot. No one's going to say or prove any other. It's 100% a bot, and it'll become very apparent once you see the footage. Now, nothing comes of me trolling this bot. It's funny. However, nothing is going to come of this. I reported this bot. I've gotten other people to report it. I've gotten my guild to report it. Nothing's going to come of this. And guess what? You see on Reddit every day. People complaining about bots. Botting in WoW. Botting. It's always one of the main issues in WoW. And it was a huge issue back in the day. One of the first videos I ever made was myself in Eye of the Storm. Now, there's also another video online that's pretty popular by Zybeck, that's who it was, who was watching all these bots in PvP. So it's not an uncommon thing for bots in PvP. But the issue is Blizzard's take on botting and how they deal with it. Botting is such a low priority for Blizzard. It's disgusting how low of a priority for them it is. Because guess what? Bots give them money. And so they don't take much of a stand against bots. And it's very unlikely that a person will be banned. Now, botting was very, very popular on private servers, and it was a big concern on private servers. When I played on Northdale, it was definitely an issue. However, the team there was actually, doing things to cope with botting. It was an active issue, and it was being handled. I mean, there was even footage that came out, and I'll show you the footage right now of GMs banning bots to make sure that they let the community know that they were actively handling this, and it was something that they knew was an issue and they were going to take a stand against. And even in my experience on a private server, I was teleported once to GM Island for a GM to ask me if I was multi-boxing, because on private servers, since accounts were free, you were not allowed to multi-box, and so I was actually helping level my alt hunter by multi-boxing, and at the time I didn't know multi-boxing was bad, so I got teleported to the GM Island, and I got kind of told off and said, hey, this is your last warning. If we catch you multi-boxing again, you're going to be banned. I explained, I'm sorry, I didn't know that it was illegal to multi-box because I'm used to, retail WoW where, hey, if you want to pay us $1 million a month to have 80 accounts, go for it. So they don't ban multi-boxing, but on private servers, it's a no-no. But anyways, it seemed that private servers with unpaid volunteer GMs were handling bots better than Blizzard is. Now, Blizzard literally could pay one person to sit there and watch for botting tickets to come in. They could instantly teleport to that person's location and verify within minutes if they're botting. Checking to see if someone is botting is very, very, very easy. It literally takes about 2 to 3 minutes to deduce if someone is botting. They're going to drink at a certain percent of health. They're going to eat at a certain percent of health. They're not going to whisper a GM back. They're going to take the exact same path. They're going to do the exact same rotation. They're going to have the exact same mannerisms. And as I said, they're not going to respond. So if a GM just randomly portaled them somewhere, guess what? They're not going to say anything. And you say, oh, well, what if it was a little kid at his computer? He's still going to freak out if a GM just ported him somewhere randomly. So this whole false positive thing that people say could happen if they just started banning people, it's not going to happen. You can easily tell if it's a computer program running an account or if it's an actual player. Now, Blizzard, I'm reaching out directly to you. You could pay me literally a measly small salary, and for a few hours a day, I would gladly and with much satisfaction find and ban bots all darn day in your game. Not only would it be satisfying for me, but it would be satisfying to the player base to know that you're actually taking some initiative to get rid of this problem. And not only that, but I guarantee you, if you made someone do this, there would be a massive difference with the amount of bots. And you could even do the same thing to publicly show that you're taking a stand. Get some footage of you banning these people. It's going to dissuade people from doing this. Because guess what? At the end of the day, if someone is not being punished for an act, why are they not going to do it? What's going to discourage other people from botting? If you're told, hey, if we ban your account, you can just get a new one, or hey, botting, you hardly ever see bots getting banned, so guess what? Other people are going to jump on board and start botting as well. If there's no punishment, people are going to do it. And this is why when, you know, let's look at a real life example. When someone steals money in real life or does things that are illegal, they're charged and punished. Now, yes, running a police force or, you know, having people to enforce these laws costs time and money. These are real things that are costly and take time and money. However, this is why countries have taxes. People pay their taxes so that we have a police force, so we can be kept safe, so we can be protected, so they can, you know, do their job and enforce laws. Now, I'm personally paying Blizzard, and I think most of you guys who are playing Classic WoW are paying Blizzard in some form. So that's $15 a month that they're getting from me for a 15-year-old game. The least you can do is use a fraction of that $15 a month to actually ban people for botting. Like, it's getting out of control, and it's actually starting to really frustrate not only me but the player base, and it's something that really needs to be addressed. So, like I said, get your shit together and use these funds to employ people to uphold the rules. There are literal Russian private servers out there that have a staff of volunteer workers with less than 10 people, and they're putting your company to shame in terms of them banning bots on their server or upholding their terms of service or their rules that they had on their private server. Guess why you didn't see tons of multi-boxers running around on private servers? Because they were banned, because it was against their rules. Guess why when you saw bots pop up and you reported them, something actually happened because of it? Well, because they were actually upholding their rules. Now, I know you guys love your money and love getting $15 a month, but guess what? Upsetting the rest of the player base in order to allow some other bots to continue playing the game and paying you $15 a month is not okay. So that's all I really got to say, guys. One thing that people really like to say is, you know, Blizzard wants to be very careful with their bans because they don't want false positives, and they don't want to have to deal with, you know, banning an account and then having someone say, hey man, I wasn't banning, I can prove it. You know, it was my little cousin on the account and he's 5, he can't type to you. Well, like I said, bots are extremely easy to identify. They do the same tasks, they perform the same movements, the same spell rotations, all this stuff. Finding bots is so easy, and there is no excuse for not banning them. If you get a ticket that comes in from someone that says so-and-so is botting right now, and so if you have someone employed that can look at that ticket right away and they can address it right away, guess what? That's one less bot that we have on the server, and to me, that's definitely worth it. So I just gotta say that, honestly, for being a paying supporter of Blizzard games for so long, and personally I've played WoW since 2005, the least you guys can do is deal with your bots. It's disgustingly easy to identify a bot. There's no reason that they should be allowed to continue playing. You should be banning these people outright, and there's no excuse for this. Also, Another thing that people like to say is that Blizzard bans people in bots in waves. No, that's there's no reason to ban people in waves. Start the banning process right when the reports come in. Me reporting someone and seeing that they're online 3 weeks later in the same location, still farming the same materials, not acceptable in my opinion. If you're getting $15 a month from paying customers for this kind of stuff, step your game up, Blizzard. Okay, let's get into the fun part of the video now. Okay, guys, so rants aside, this isn't something I normally do on my channel, rant, but I was just feeling it. I wanted to get off my chest. Now, I came across a bot while I was leveling in Un'Goro. Now, of course, I reported the bot right away, as you guys should always do. Even if you feel like the reports don't do anything, you should still definitely send in reports, so if they ever do get taken care of, they're there. Now, I was thinking to myself, you know, I killed the person, I think 2 or 3 times, and they kept coming back, and you know, you can't win against a computer program. If I farm them all day long, guess what? They're still going to be there, and diminishing returns with honor, there's really no point in me killing them. So quickly I changed my thought process on how I was going to ruin this bot's day. So next I thought, well, they have food and water that they're constantly eating and drinking. When they drop below a certain percentage, it looked like it was around 50% HP they would eat and about 30% mana they would eat, and they wouldn't resume combat until they got to 90% HP or 90% mana. So what I decided to do was get rid of all of their food first. So obviously that took a while, but I soon was able to get rid of all of their food, and then at that point, using my pet on their pet, I was able to get rid of all of the hunter's mana, and then they would drink, and I would slowly get rid of all of their water that they had in their bags. So eventually we got rid of all of her food and then all of her water. So now it took her forever out of combat to regenerate, because she couldn't eat and she couldn't drink, so she just had to stand there. And as you could see, as soon as she would hit 90% HP and 90% mana, then she would resume running on her path. And so then what I decided to do after that is, now the next goal was to get her equipment broken. Now obviously I personally can't see when someone's equipment is broken or red, as their durability doesn't show up for me. However, I know that it's 10% each time they die, and obviously a telltale sign is that if someone has a broken weapon or, you know, bow, what will happen is all they can do is use their fists. So doing that, we slowly got to the point where she had all red gear, and she no longer could actually fight in combat, and even with a pet, she would still die to mobs in combat. So at the end of the day, guys, although I did have the rant at the beginning, I did have tons and tons of fun doing this and recording this video. It was hilarious to me, and even now she's still out in the world just slowly killing mobs. I've been in Un'Goro questing for a long time, and I'll come across her every once in a while, and she's relatively in the same location, and while sometimes she doesn't die, she does slowly wither down and take lots of damage, and the kill time is just ridiculous. So I did what I could, but Blizzard really does need to step up and actually do something about this. So I know this was a little bit different video than I normally do, but hopefully you guys found it interesting, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Take care.